Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to Monday. Hey. That's right, y'all. We got through the weekend. I hope everybody had an awesome weekend. I know I did. I had some laid back time, some playtime, so it was all good. All right. So I hope on my Tweet Talks community is here, pumping, ready for the word. So guess what? Today's topic is when it's time to put you first. That is right. I know that sounds crazy to some people. Some people are like, what? When it's time, I always put me first. Well, guess what? I'm going to tell you. There's people out here in this world that have difficulties in that department. Like, putting themselves first is just not the easiest thing to do. And I can feel them on that because I can be like that too. And then I know there's some people that they ain't got no problem putting themselves first. So this is specifically for attention all empaths. If you are an empath, this show is for you. Okay? Because in life, we often, some of us, for the most part, the ones that have trouble putting ourselves first, we often hate the idea of hurting somebody. Yeah, I mean, some of us stronger people out here, they feel like, you know what? I don't care if I hurt somebody else. As long as I put me first. And you know what? I wish I had that in me. I really do. Because, I mean, I feel like at some point you do have to put yourself first. So what happens? What happens when we do? What happens when we face with situations in life where we're like, you know what? I got to put me first. Otherwise, I'm going to go down. And if you have not experienced this, at some point in your life, we will. We will. At some point in your life, you are going to experience it. So, just know that if you're an empath, a person that has empathy for others, you're going to take an L sometimes. Yes, you are going to take an L sometimes. But you know what? As you get older in life, that changes. You know what I'm saying? When you're young, you might get in trouble for somebody else, take the blame for your homegirl, your homeboy. But as you get older, those L's that you keep taking, they start adding up. You know what? You get into your 20s or your 30s and you be like, hold up. I done took about 75 L's or 5 or 10 L's for somebody else. I'm tired of taking L's. Ain't you tired of taking an L for somebody else? Well, sometimes it's like that. And see, for me, growing up, as a young girl, we was always taught to be a ride for your man. You got to be a rider. When you in love, you got to be a rider. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, that does not always have to be true. Keyword, not always. Yes, sometimes you're going to take an L for the person you love, but it is not mandatory. As far as showing how much you love somebody is constantly taking L's for them. Let me go ahead and tell you that. That is not love. That is a form of abuse. Okay? And sometimes when people that have trouble putting ourselves first, when we're in the process of choosing whether we want to put ourselves first or that other person, it can cause us to be isolated. Yes. It will cause isolation or withdrawal. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Sometimes what happens is when the heat gets too hot and we don't know what to choose, we got to fall back from everybody just to figure it out. And it's a painful, painful, painful thing when you find yourself in a situation where you constantly have to choose, okay? Am I going to put myself first or am I going to allow myself to get some shine here? And it's real. I'm telling you, I experienced this. I experienced this a few weeks ago. I had ran into a situation in the workplace and I was like, you know what? If I decide that I'm going to kind of be the kind of person to just put everything out and open, what happens if this person loses their job? What happens if this person loses their income? What about the babies? What about the The family. What if they lose their home? You know, when you're an empathetic person, this is how far your mind goes. Like I said, everybody don't have this ability. But when you're a person that naturally, off the top, can feel what other people feel, this is something that you do. You start weighing their options and your options. You notice how I said that? Their options and then yours. Because you put yourself second when it comes to people. And it don't have to be. Some people be like, well, when it comes to my family, yeah. But guess what? When you're really an empathetic person, you're not just thinking about just your family. It's just all around. It comes out first. Now, as you get older, let me go ahead and put this out there. Because I don't want nobody to send no email saying that they need a little cash. No. We have limits. Yes. Now, it does cause you to overthink and think about weighing the options and how things should go. But you know what? We have limits. Yes, we do. We have limits. You know, because we say, all right, you know what? When you're young, you may not. And that's how I feel like a lot of our young single mothers, I feel like sometimes that's how we end up get caught up. Because, you know, you get into a relationship with a guy and he starts telling you all these situations that's going on. His dad ain't there. Mom's doing this. Mom's on drugs. Mom is not providing. I don't have no decent shoes to wear on my feet. This person is cracking jokes. Whatever the story is that they give you. And this is when being empathetic really like hits the fan. Because what happens is you start to feel so much for this other person and what they're going through. And what you really want and what you need lacks. Now you end up with a baby. Because you're loving on somebody that you don't necessarily need to be with. You can love. You can be there for, but not necessarily to be with. And now this person, years later, has picked up on the fact that you care so much for others that they can bounce and come back whenever they want to, because they know that you're going to accept whatever they give because they know you're empathetic. And because they know that you are not accustomed to putting yourself first. So sometimes you have to make it a way of life. You have to make it a way of life. And when I was faced with this situation, that's what I had to do. Instead of putting they, them, she, or he, I had to remove that and put me, mine, ours, and we. Just try that one time. Sometimes when you're faced with a situation and you don't know what to do, when you don't want to, as they say, throw anybody under the bus, sometimes you have to evaluate yourself from your perspective. Because guess what? Y'all already know what I'm about to say. Sometimes the way you thinking about looking out for somebody else, they wouldn't think twice about looking out for you. Yes, it's important to think about that when we are overthinking. Because a lot of times when we run into the situation of whether we put ourselves first or somebody else first, it causes overthinking. It causes us to think negatively. And the first thing that's going to happen, I'm going to tell you, is you're going to start thinking negatively about how this other person is going to be affected. And you push yourself aside. And you know the reason why we do that? Y'all know the reason why we do that? Let me tell you the reason why. Because we're used to getting through things. Yes. If you look into and do any research on empaths, we are the people that know how to get through things. We just don't see ourselves that way. But we're used to getting through things. So when you get to a situation where you choose the other person over yourself, it's because in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I'll be all right. I can get through it. I can take an L and keep on ticking. But no, we have to learn that we can't do that. And just to give an example, this goes back to that whole situation. Now, you know, back in the day when you was little and you walking down the street somewhere and you find a $10 bill on the ground and you like, finders keepers, losers weepers. See, that's the immature part of us, where we haven't really thought about the thoughts of ourselves against other people. But when you become older, you start to think about, dang, as an empath now, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you, we're speaking about this perspective from being an empath. Now, the first thing you're going to do is think about, dang, I hope this person that lost this this money, they had a way to get home, or they wasn't just out here stranded, or you know what I'm saying? You're going to think about those things. Now, I'm not saying that you're not going to keep it. Let's, because I know some of y'all like, oh, she lying. No, what I'm saying is, yes, we may choose to say, you know what, I'm going to keep it, but it's going to crush your mind. As a real empath, you're going to think about it and be like, you know what? Is this person really going to be in need? And so these are the things that you have to think about when you don't put yourself first. And I'll tell you something. In life, you will learn. The more you learn to not put yourself first, the more hurt and pain you're going to go through. Because you got people out here that don't care. That don't care. That do not care, babies. They do not care. And sometimes you'll run into situations. Let's talk about relationships, right? Okay, so recently I was watching a Netflix series called From Scratch. Yes, if y'all haven't seen it, check it out on your own. No funds is being granted to me for that promotional use, but I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it because it's a specific part in this movie series where the wife has to weigh her option whether she do something to help her husband or herself. And I mean, based on my view on it, they both equally wanted this thing. She had her thing that she really wanted. He had his thing. And I kind of got it because she had to stop for a minute and say, you know what? Do I look out for me? Or do I give him what he really wants? And that's a hard thing, y'all. That's a hard thing, especially for our parents. All the parents that's listening. You know how it is. We pay these bills and get all the main stuff out the way, and then you got that child asking you for something that you know that they really want. And you like, do I go get that wig? Or do I give this child that money? Yes. Come on. I know some of y'all ladies, I know some of y'all done it. Y'all done said, I done made this appointment to get my hair done. Do I go? Do I not? Then you try to work it out. Then you dig in that old plastic crate and see what kind of hair you got. That you ain't got to buy no more. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I ain't the only one. And sometimes you gotta put yourself first, even as a parent, y'all. We take care of these kids 24/7, 7 days a week. Why we can't choose to put ourselves first sometimes? If it's not going to hurt, harm, or kill the child, hey, listen, because mine already know the deal. Mama going to shine somehow. You going to be all right, but I got to take care of me. Because at the end of the day, you are a representation of these children. You can't go to the schoolhouse looking any kind of way because the child is mad and the kids are joking. You can't go to the job looking any kind of way. You still representing that child. And so sometimes in life we have got to do that, even with the loves of our lives. Always have your own goal. I'm going to tell y'all, like I've told so many of my sisters, always have your own goal. Always have something that you're focusing on for you. Because guess what? You can love on a person, and pour your everything into that person or into that relationship. But you've got to have some type of self-fulfillment. It's got to be. And I'm not talking about a short-term fulfillment like I was speaking of a few minutes ago. Some hair, some jewelry, getting your nails done. No, find something in-depth, long-term that's going to satisfy and make you happy. Because I'm telling you, y'all, life is so short. You, as a parent, you can live your whole life taking care of and providing for this child. And this child get grown and walk away. And you like, you know what? I have done nothing. I haven't been on any cruises. I haven't left the state. I haven't experienced this. I haven't experienced that. It's all about time management, when and where and how, and even planning. But don't ever live a life where you're not making yourself happy or putting yourself first. Sometimes you got to do it. You've got to do it, y'all. So I'm signing off, and I want to tell y'all I love all of my listeners. I thank y'all for the comments, for the emails. Some of y'all is real funny. Some of y'all is so funny, but I love it. I love it. Keep it coming. And I'll see y'all back same time, same place Monday. Love y'all. Peace. Tweet, y'all.